I'm going to start
Perfect.
now. Okay. Share my screen. I'm going to go into slideshow mode real quick. Thank you everyone for choosing to be here tonight to learn a little bit about CBD, what you need to look for in CBD, and how CBD has helped me and my colleagues and friends here. We're grateful that you're here tonight. And really the purpose of this session is to give you a little bit of education, but we really wanted to be able to just to share what our personal experiences were and how CBD had an impact on our life. So I'm going to go through, as I go through some of this information, what I'll do is we'll pepper in some testimonials so you can hear how people have really benefited from CBD. So I'm just going to get started and just really level set what CBD is, because I think there's a lot of confusion in the market. You know, will CBD get me stoned? You know, how's that going to make me feel? And of course there's confusion in the market because marijuana and hemp, they look the same and they smell the same. And there's just, you know, a lot of information out there people just aren't aware of. But it's very fascinating, if you can see at this screen, is marijuana, basically, just to keep it simple, is high in THC and low in CBD. The THC is what gets you stoned, makes you feel loopy. Hemp has low THC and high CBD. And so that's where our CBD comes from. And in 2018, a bill was passed that you could grow hemp in all 50 states to create CBD if it had less than 0.3% of THC, because that percentage would not get anyone high or give them any psychoactive effects. And that's one of the reasons why you might be seeing it everywhere in the marketplace. That's one of the reasons why the industry is currently a $1 billion industry, but in the next 3 years, Forbes and the New York Times, they predict it to be over a $20 billion industry. And so much of that has to do with the legalization to make a safe, natural wellness solution, as well as the results that people are getting. And that's really why we're here today, because we want to have the opportunity to share the results that people experience. So before I jump into really how it works, I would love for Caitlin to share a little bit about her story and how CBD has helped her.
Yes, of course. So my name is Caitlin DeMartini. I've actually been an advocate for Green Compass for a little bit, well, I guess about 2 months. And I met Laura back in Orange Theory about 2 years ago. We were just kind of talking about it, and she mentioned to me this reduced cream that she uses for her aches and pains. And I was running and training for a half marathon. And during my training process and the time that I was training, I got a stress fracture in my heel. So I had to stop running, and I was obviously very frustrated and disappointed. And I started taking CBD, not only the oil, but I also started in the tinctures, and I also started using the reduced cream on my heel every day. And I could tell almost immediately with the reduced cream, it gave me a sense of relief. And so I use it still to this day, every day. I've been using it for about a year now. And not just on my heel, but any type of aches and pain that I may have from working out. Any type of soreness from muscles, and it really does help. And I think that has been a game changer for me, because I love to be active and I work out every day. And so the reduced cream for me personally has been a game changer. And I tell all my friends and family about it, and I can my testimonial for it is just that it's almost instant in the relief that it provides. So I personally love it, and I hope that everybody else gets to experience the same results that I have.
Thank you so much. And let me see if you all can see me. Can you all see me or no?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So this is what the reduced cream looks like. Can you see it? Am I showing it okay?
Yeah.
The reduced cream has 300 milligrams of full spectrum CBD, and it has that icy hot feeling. but it is healing as well. So and it has all kinds of natural ingredients. Everything that we have is organic. So thank you, Caitlin. So let's talk just for a second about how does CBD work in our body? So what's really fascinating is that in the 1990s, the endocannabinoid system was discovered by scientists and researchers. And this system spans across our 11 major organ systems. And what happens is when you take CBD and you put CBD in or on your body, it interacts in that system and it puts your body into homeostasis. Basically, it puts your body into balance. And so that's when you hear people talking about how it can improve their mood and decrease their stress, help their energy level, help them sleep. It's because it works all across your body. And what's really interesting is because it's working within your natural system, because your body actually creates cannabinoids, so it helps stimulate the cannabinoids to be created in your body. But what happens is it prioritizes in your body. So you might think, well, I'm a little anxious and I want to take CBD because I'm anxious, but you actually might start sleeping better first because that's what your body needed. And then you might have a little anxious feelings later. So that's what's really amazing about it. And I would love for Phil to share your story and your journey in how you found out about CBD, why you use it, and how it helps you, because it's pretty incredible.
Okay. Well, my name is Phil Bender, and I'm a retired dude. I was in the healthcare business for about 27 years and retired. I used to work with Laura, actually. So my journey started shortly after the Farm Bill, the 2018 Farm Bill that legalized hemp was passed. And what really got me onto CBD was an injury that I had. I was sledding with my grandson and I slipped and fell on hard packed snow and I really wrecked my right knee. And they had to remove most of the meniscus. Now the doctor said, now you're bone on bone and you're probably going to need a total knee replacement sometime in the not too distant future. So she put me on all sorts of prescription medications to help the pain in my knee, but I was still in pain. And then I thought, well, I'm going to try CBD. And so I started taking CBD, and the transformation was dramatic for me. It totally cleared up my pain in my knee to the extent that when I went back to see my doctor, my orthopedic doctor, she said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm taking CBD. She said, well, if that's working for you, let's get you off the prescription meds. And then she said, and give me some of your business cards. And so she refers patients to me because they can't prescribe narcotics that much anymore. So she refers them to me for the CBD. She really likes our CBD. She knows it's a good product. So it worked really, really well for me. The only time I ever had any residual pain was when I was sitting down for a long period of time and I'd get up. It felt kind of stiff and I'd have to take a few steps to get it limbered up. But since we came out with Boost Pain, which is another one of our products, fairly new one, I started taking that, and that particular problem is gone as well. So now I can sit for long periods of time, stretch out my leg, and get up, and I don't have any pain. So this has been like a miracle to me, quite frankly. It's an extremely, I can't say enough about it. And let me say one other thing. During this time when I was on CBD, I had a heart attack. I know it's hard to believe. I'm not overweight. I'm not out of shape, but I had a heart attack. And it was a bad heart attack. It was in my LAD, which should have caused a lot of damage to my heart. In fact, I had 2 heart attacks. I had a heart attack before they put the stent in. I got to the hospital within about 10 minutes. And then after the stent was put in, about 30 seconds after the stent was put in, I had another heart attack on the table. Same LAD. They had to go in and put a stent inside of a stent. So I have two stents, but they're on top of each other. My doctor told me, he said, with that kind of a heart attack, or those heart attacks in succession, he said, you should have a lot of heart damage and you should be in heart failure. But he said, you're not. So I did some research to see if CBD was cardioprotective, and in fact, it is. They did some studies on rats. They can't induce heart attacks in humans, so they did it in rats. And they found that rats that are on CBD were protected from heart damage when they had these heart attacks. So I know that ultimately the Lord was the one that helped me through this, but I know that he can use things, and I think he used the CBD to protect me, because my doctor told me, and I just had a visit today, he said, your heart is what we would call normal at this point. And he said, that is unheard of with your kind of heart attack. So I'm very grateful that I was on CBD for another problem while I had my heart attack. And I will never stop using CBD. Trust me. It's the best thing I've ever done. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And I tell you, every time Phil talks, I like get choked up. I really do, because it's like remarkable. And I've known him for, gosh, Caitlin, since I was your age. So when I was in my early 30s, I'm 52 now. So it's really remarkable. And, two things about the testimonial sharers so far is that, they both come from professional medical careers, as I do as well, as in pharma and device. And I think that it's very telling to me that people like us who value the science have researched it and believe in it. And there are thousands of research studies about CBD on NIH.gov, National Institute of Health, if you're not sure what that is, and Project CBD. We can send you links to that as well. But the research is there, and then you have the experience as well. And if you look on this slide, vascular system, Phil was just talking about that. And it, the endocannabinoid system is, spans across our vascular system as well. So thank you for sharing that, Bill. Bill is a researcher. And so before he said yes to Green Compass, he was using another solution, but did a lot of research and looked at, what are the key things that why he would change CBDs. But regardless, it doesn't matter what CBD you're taking. We obviously feel the one that we share is truly the Cadillac of them. And so if you're looking at a CBD, these are really the 7 things that are critically important. And the challenge is a lot of people really don't know what to look for. And so if you look at kind of the bottom 4, one is how is it extracted from the plant? Carbon dioxide, that's the best. It's the most environmentally friendly. It preserves the cannabinoids. The hemp flower, you prefer to get the CBD just from the flower versus the stalks and the stems. So you need to understand that before purchasing CBD. The color, it should be clear and golden. And that says that, hey, the impurities and byproducts are pulled out of it. This is the purest stuff. And the carrier oil, being coconut oil, is key, because that delivers the most cannabinoids to the cells for absorption. And if you Google that, you'll see that coconut oil, MCT oil, is the Cadillac of carrier oils. The other 3 things are the certificate of analysis. That's a third-party source that says we have looked at what's in the bottle, and what they say is in the bottle is in the bottle. Actually, really over 70%, even more, based upon the research of the CBD in the marketplace, doesn't have what is said is in the bottle, because it's not a regulated market. So it's critical that if you buy CBD, it has to have a third party testing it. End of story. And then the soil, where does it come from? Our company actually plants the seeds and takes that seed all the way to the bottle. So we control the entire process of the creation of CBD. So that allows us to control the quality to make sure it's only the best. The seed, the soil has to be clean. 80% of hemp of CBD sold in the United States currently comes from China, and China grows hemp to create their CBD to clean their air. So there's contaminants in what a lot of people are taking, unfortunately. So if people have bad experiences on CBD, oftentimes it's because they're taking CBD from another country or CBD that's not grown on soil that's clean and pure. And so they are experiencing those contaminants, pesticides, or herbicides that might be in that CBD. And certified organic is key. This is a very new certification that the USDA provided hemp growers and CBD growers. And we're the only direct selling company that has the USDA organic certification. So we're proud to have that, because it is not easy to get. Our farmers have actually been farming on organic soil since the 1970s. So what makes Green Compass a little bit different is just the standards. I've already talked about those. Our goal is to be the most trusted name in the industry. And again, we control the whole process. So that's the most important thing, is we control the whole process. So we make sure it's the best. And we have an industry of professionals. In fact, our owner, he is one of the largest organic sweet potato farmers in the world. He was the CEO and the CFO of a company that did that. But when his wife needed to take CBD, she had postpartum depression. Nothing worked. Her brother suggested it. She took the CBD. It helped her immeasurably. As her children got older, she wanted to use it on them, but she didn't want to use any CBD on them. Oftentimes we won't give our kids what we give ourselves. So she asked her husband, who's an expert in agriculture, could you help make some CBD? So he partnered up with these two guys, the Wooten brothers, and they created our CBD, which is quite amazing. So once they started, and it's out of Wilmington, North Carolina, they started sharing CBD with people in their area, and then it just grew and grew and grew by word of mouth. People had amazing experiences, and they just decided to allow people like us to have the gift to share it with other people. I wanted to introduce Nora, because Nora is our last speaker for today, and I'd like Nora to share her story.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Nora, and I'm probably the newest of the group. I've been with Green Compass for 3-4 weeks now. I know Laura from school, elementary school. So we recently reconnected on Facebook, and I just noticed her posts and how excited and passionate she was about what she does. So I really came into this for the business aspect of it. I don't have the same background, the same medical background as you guys have, but I am a product girl. I'm in retail, more so in merchandising and planning. So the product piece for me was exciting. I did order the kit, and so some of my favorite things so far, right off the bat, was the bath soaks. I've got restless leg syndrome. I'm not sure if I shared that with you yet, Laura. Bath soaks it's really helped me. I actually need to order more, but that has 35 milligrams of CBD isolate in it, but it also has eucalyptus, and it just helped me really to relax at night. I'm a huge bath person. Also, I'm enjoying the essential oils. I use the Calm a lot during the day when I'm like going crazy at work, working from home. And then also I've been battling a sinus infection for longer than I want to admit, but I got a humidifier, and I've been putting the crown in the humidifier, and that's been really helping to relieve some of the pain on my sinuses. And then I've also started on the cinnamon flavored full spectrum 1,000 milligram hemp oil. So far, I mean, again, it's been 3 weeks. I definitely feel calmer and more relaxed. I haven't gotten relief as yet with my insomnia, and I'm hoping that is to come. I'm doing the microdosing, so I'm still working on where my sweet spot is. But yeah, so I'm just really enjoying it so far. And that's my story.
And that's your story, and you're sticking to it.
Can I ask Phil a question?
Yes, of course.
Okay. I want to know what he is taking, because his story is pretty similar to somebody that I'm talking to. So I was kind of curious which CBD oil he's using.
Well, when I had my heart attack, I was taking the 750,
Okay.
and I moved up to 1,000, and now I'm on the 2,500. But I don't take a full milliliter. I take on the 1,000. I moved up simply for economics because it's cheaper per milliliter the higher you go. So I mean, you have to use less of it. In other words,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I use 3/4 of a milliliter of the 2,500s, and then I use a half a milliliter of the pain, the Boost Pain.
The Boost Pain. Okay.
Take those together at night before I go to bed. I also use the Calm when I go to bed. I sleep like a rock now. I mean,
Yeah.
I really do. So, and I feel great. And you mentioned this feeling of wellness, or this what we call homeostasis, and
Mhm.
it feeling of well-being. That it has been a dramatic thing for me. I feel, at times that when I was really stressed out about things, I just don't do that anymore.
Yeah. And I like that it doesn't alter me. Like I still feel like me,
Right.
but I'm just not freaking out as much.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I'm good.
And I think that that's like the beauty behind it. And I'll hear a lot of people say, I don't know what it's doing, but I just feel better.
Yeah.
So, and that's the beauty behind this amazing compound that comes from our earth, is that it helps everyone in different ways. And so, what my goal tonight was, for those of you that are on here, is to learn about the array of things that it can do. And we just touched the surface with these stories. But if you think about, just the small experiences that were shared, there's just so many things. I mean, it helps dogs, it helps our children, it helps our grandparents, our parents, our sisters, and our brothers. And because it works within our whole body, it comes from the earth, and it's a safe product. And for me personally, that's what it does. It gives me the overall better sense of well-being. I use the topicals for my pain from working out too much, beating my body up for so many years. And I sleep so well because I do use some of our sleep solutions. So, people don't need to use everything we have, but what we do have is we have a whole host of things that people can use for their well-being. And we offer things that are full spectrum, that have the whole plant in it with the legal amount of THC, but we also offer things with no THC. Or broad spectrum that have, isolate with CBD, just CBD, or broad spectrum with the whole plant, but the THC. But, our company is committed to quality. We are deeply committed to quality, and we are committed to change lives. That's the heart of our company. And so we're just grateful that you spent time with us tonight. We appreciate it. We went over a couple minutes, but we're thankful for that. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us, because we can connect you with people in our organization that can share their story if they have a similar issue. Nora, you can connect your friend with Phil, and he'd be happy to share. That's what we're all about. We're all about just educating and sharing. So thanks so much for being on, Jill and Linda and Phil and Caitlin and Nora, and if anyone else that I missed. But you all have an absolutely amazing night.